I am immensely proud of the upcoming classical season for the Nashville Symphony. These, of course, are different times. We're still adjusting to this pandemic reality, even though we seem to be coming out of it. And for me at least, I remain very optimistic that things will get better very, very quickly, and that hopefully we'll be back to some level of normalcy before we know it. And performing concert will be a part of it. But we have to remember that still we are taking precautions because first and foremost, it's about safety. And the season was kind of planned around having some sort of a gradual growth of the size of the orchestra starting in September. And as the season progresses, getting bigger and larger, and the repertoire will reflect that. But this is a great opportunity because we're also getting to perform music that normally you would not find in a normal season. So this has opened the door to showcase not only composers, but also music and repertoire that is written sometimes for a smaller ensemble and gets to truly showcase the virtuosity, the individual virtuosity of the members of the orchestra. And a big part of coming back together, especially after being basically away from each other for so long, is getting back to that comfort level. Even though we are going to be making music, psychologically, this has been very difficult, and being back on stage together will require a slow journey, almost, if I can make that analogy. And music will be, of course, the guiding force behind it. But I will tell you, playing fanfares with brass and percussion, or playing pieces specifically written for woodwind instruments early on, will give you a real snapshot of other great works that famous composers were intended for the stage. They were intended for more intimate settings. Also this season, I am very excited that we are focusing on composer and works of groups of composers that are underrepresented. I am very proud to announce that we have African-American composers, female African-American composers, and composers from different backgrounds that otherwise have been neglected over the years. And a few years ago, when the Nashville Symphony hosted the American Symphony Orchestra League in our city, I was honored enough to give one of the speeches, and I made a commitment to basically change the status quo, that it was time for us to look beyond the standards. And as much as I love Beethoven and Brahms and Shostakovich and Stravinsky, like the rest of you, we have to combine those as well with other composers that will shine a light, I think, on those more standard composers. You have heard me say this many times, that when you play a new piece of music next to one of the more better known works, whether by Rachmaninoff or Mozart, that piece tends to sound new and fresh again, because we're also presenting a piece that is more relevant even to our own times in the 21st century. So I am immensely proud that the Nashville Symphony is a leading voice in orchestras, not only in America, but around the world, to expand that vision in terms of which composers should be programmed. And we owe it not only to those composers, but more importantly, we owe it to our audiences to showcase them for them and to present them and give them a chance to appreciate them and to really see that there's far more fantastic music than we would ever be able to hear. And in every single program that you're going to hear next season, I think you're going to find some incredibly lovely surprises that you might say, how come I never heard this before? So we are looking forward to championing these works, very much following everything that the Nashville Symphony is all about, which is always looking to the future, but at the same time celebrating the great traditions of the fabulous composers from the last 2 or 3 centuries.